Welcome to EvoLing Mind, where English meets inspiration. Let's train your ears and grow your mind, one word at a time.
Today, we are going to talk about something that makes life colorful and unforgettable: travel experiences. Travel is more than moving from one place to another. It is more than buying tickets, packing bags, or taking photos. Travel is a journey that changes the way we see the world. When we travel, we step outside our daily routine. We leave behind our comfort zone, and we open the door to something new. Think about the last time you traveled. Maybe it was a long trip to another country, or maybe it was just a short visit to a town near your home. Do you remember how it felt? The excitement before leaving, the curiosity when you arrived, the little surprises along the way? These moments stay in our memory, and they make us grow. Travel teaches us lessons that no book can give. We learn about different cultures, we hear new languages, we taste new foods, and we meet people whose lives are different from ours. Sometimes we get lost, sometimes we make mistakes, sometimes we face challenges. But all of this becomes part of the story that we carry with us forever. In this episode, we will reflect on the value of travel. We will talk about why travel matters, how small journeys can bring big changes, the challenges we face when traveling, and how travel gives us meaning and connection. So take a deep breath and imagine yourself walking on a road you have never seen before. The air is fresh, the world feels wide, and every step is a chance to discover. This is the spirit of travel, and today we will explore it together. Why does travel matter? Why do so many people around the world dream about it, save money for it, and talk about it with excitement? The answer is simple, but also deep. Travel matters because it opens our eyes, our hearts, and our minds. It is not only about the places we go, it is about the person we become when we leave home and explore the world. First, travel matters because it breaks our routine. Every day, we often follow the same pattern: wake up, go to work or school, eat meals, rest, sleep, repeat. Life feels safe, but sometimes it also feels small. Travel changes that. It takes us out of the ordinary and places us in the extraordinary. Suddenly, the streets are different, the food tastes new, and the air carries a smell we have never known. This break from routine wakes us up. It reminds us that life is bigger than our daily circle. Second, travel matters because it teaches us. In school, we can learn from books and teachers, but when we travel, the world itself becomes our classroom. Imagine walking in a market in Morocco, hearing the calls of sellers, smelling spices in the air, and seeing colors that feel almost alive. You cannot learn that from a photo in a book. Or imagine standing in front of the Colosseum in Rome, touching the stones and realizing they have been there for almost 2,000 years. The lesson is not only about history, it's about feeling the weight of time in your own hands. Travel also teaches us about people. When we meet people from other cultures, we begin to understand that there is not only one way to live, there are many. Some eat different foods, some celebrate different holidays, some speak languages that sound like music to our ears. And yet, even with differences, we see something familiar. People everywhere laugh, love, cry, and hope. Travel shows us diversity, but it also shows us connection. Another reason travel matters is because it builds confidence. At home, life is easy. We know where everything is. We know the language, the rules, the system. But when we travel, we often don't. We may get lost in a new city. We may struggle with a menu in another language. We may need to ask strangers for help. These moments can feel difficult, but they also make us stronger. Every time we solve a small problem on the road, we grow more confident. We realize, if I can do this here, I can do many things anywhere. Travel also creates memories. Some of the strongest memories in life are connected to places we have visited. Maybe it is a sunset on the beach. Maybe it is a mountain view after a long climb. Maybe it is laughing with friends on a train that was late, but somehow became a fun adventure. These memories stay with us and years later, they still make us smile. Travel writes stories in our hearts. But travel is not only about joy. Sometimes it is also about challenge. We may face delays, misunderstandings, or even danger. These moments can be stressful, but they also matter. They remind us that life is not always smooth, and we need patience, courage, and flexibility. In fact, many people say their most meaningful travel memories come not from the easy parts, but from the hard ones. The night they got lost, but found kindness from a stranger. The day they missed a bus, but discovered a hidden street full of beauty. These experiences teach us resilience, and they often change us in ways we never forget. Another reason travel matters is because it gives us perspective. When we see how other people live, we start to look at our own life differently. Maybe we complain about small things at home, like slow internet or long lines at the supermarket. But then we travel and see people who live with much less, but still smile every day. Suddenly, we feel grateful, or maybe we feel inspired to change something in our life. Travel helps us see not only the world, but also ourselves more clearly. And finally, travel matters because it brings joy. Simple joy. The joy of tasting a dish for the first time, the joy of hearing waves crash against the shore, the joy of walking into a city square full of life. These moments make us feel alive. They remind us that life is not only about working, planning, or worrying. Life is also about experiencing, feeling, and celebrating the beauty of the world. So why does travel matter? It matters because it breaks routine. It matters because it teaches lessons no classroom can give. It matters because it connects us with people and cultures. It matters because it builds our confidence, creates lasting memories, gives us perspective, and fills us with joy. Travel is not only about moving from one place to another. It is about movement inside us. It is about growth, understanding, and inspiration. That is why travel is not a luxury. It is a part of life. Even if we cannot travel far, even if we only travel to a nearby town or a new street, the experience still matters. Because in the end, travel is not only about the world we visit, it is about the world we carry inside us, shaped by every step, every face, every journey. That is why travel matters.
When people think about travel, they often imagine something big, a plane to another continent, a long holiday in a famous city, a journey across the ocean. Of course, these trips are wonderful, but travel is not only about faraway places. Sometimes the journeys that change us most are the small ones, a short trip, a weekend adventure, even a simple walk in a new part of town. Small journeys have big power. Why? Because they remind us that discovery is everywhere. You don't need to go far to feel the spirit of travel. You only need to open your eyes. Think about taking a train to a nearby city. It may only take 1 hour, but when you arrive, everything feels fresh. The streets look different. The people speak with a slightly different accent. The food may have a taste you don't know. You are not far from home, but you feel like you are in another world. That feeling, the excitement, the curiosity, is the heart of travel. Or imagine going for a hike in the hills outside your town. You may have passed those hills many times, but never stopped to climb them. One day, you decide to try. The air is cleaner, the path is quiet, and step by step, the view becomes wider. At the top, you see your town from above, and suddenly you realize, this place is beautiful. I never saw it like this before. The journey was short, but the change in perspective is huge. Small journeys also teach us to slow down. When we take a big trip, we often plan every detail. Flights, hotels, tickets, schedules. But a small journey doesn't need much planning. It gives us freedom to explore, to walk without hurry, to notice small things, The smell of coffee in a street cafe, the laughter of children playing, the sound of birds in the park. These simple experiences remind us that joy is not only in big moments, it is in small discoveries. Another reason small journeys bring big change is that they are easier to repeat. A trip to another country may only happen once a year or once in a lifetime, but a small journey can happen often, every month, every week, even every day. And each time we learn something new. Over time, these small experiences add up, and together they shape the way we see life. For example, someone who visits local museums every weekend may develop a deep love for art. Another person who takes short trips to nearby villages may learn about history, culture, and traditions that were always close but never explored. Someone who walks different streets in their own city may find new restaurants, new shops, new people, new ideas. These are not big travels, but they create big changes in understanding and appreciation. Small journeys also help us face fear. Many people dream about traveling far, but they feel nervous. They worry about language, money, or safety. A small journey is a perfect practice. It is safe, it is near, but it still gives the feeling of adventure. Each small journey builds courage, and courage grows into confidence, making bigger travels easier in the future. There is also something beautiful about discovering the familiar with new eyes. Sometimes we live in one place for years, but we don't really see it. We walk the same streets, we eat in the same restaurants, we go to the same places. But if we take a small journey, if we walk a different way home, if we visit a new park, if we sit in a cafe we never tried, suddenly our home feels fresh. We realize that adventure is not only far away, it can also be right here. Small journeys can also bring big emotional change. A walk in nature can calm the mind. A short visit to a temple or church can give peace. A day trip with friends can create laughter and memories that last forever. These experiences don't take much time or money, but they make our hearts richer. And small journeys remind us of something important. The world is full of wonder if we choose to see it. A child knows this. For a child, everything is an adventure. A trip to the market, a visit to the park, even a ride on the bus feels exciting. As adults, we sometimes forget. We think only big trips matter. But when we take small journeys, we remember how to see like a child again. We remember that discovery is not far away. It is here, waiting for us. So don't wait for the perfect moment to travel. Don't say, one day, when I have more money, when I have more time, then I will explore. Start now. Take a small journey. Visit a new place in your city. Try food from another culture. Walk in nature. Talk to someone you don't know. These are small steps, but they are powerful. Because in the end, travel is not measured by distance. It is measured by change. And change can happen in one day, in 1 hour, even in one step. That is the magic of small journeys. They remind us that life is full of discovery. They show us that even the smallest adventure can open our eyes, touch our heart, and change the way we see the world. So next time you feel stuck, tired, or bored, don't wait for a big trip. Take a small one. You may be surprised at how much it transforms you. Small journeys, big change. That is the truth of travel.
When we think about travel, we often imagine beautiful photos, delicious food, and exciting adventures. But anyone who has traveled knows the truth. Travel also comes with challenges. Sometimes the road is not easy. Sometimes the journey is uncomfortable. And sometimes things go wrong.
But here's the important part. These challenges are not the end of the story. They are part of the story. They are what make travel real, and they are often what make travel meaningful. One of the first challenges in travel is planning. Before we even leave home, we may feel stress. Where should I go? How much will it cost? Do I need tickets, documents, or visas? The questions feel endless. For some people, planning is exciting, but for others, it feels like a problem. This is normal. Travel asks us to organize, to prepare, and sometimes to face things we have never done before. Even this preparation is part of the learning. Then there are challenges on the road itself. Flights can be delayed. Trains can be full. Buses can break down. A hotel may not look like the photos. A restaurant may serve food we don't like. These moments can be frustrating. We want everything to be smooth, but reality is often different. Travel teaches us patience. It reminds us that not everything is in our control. Another challenge is language. When we travel to another country, we may not understand the words around us. Simple things like reading a menu or asking for directions suddenly feel difficult. It can be uncomfortable, but at the same time, it is also an opportunity. We learn to listen, to use body language, to smile, and to connect beyond words. And sometimes, the funniest travel stories come from language mistakes. Money can also be a challenge. Travel often costs more than we expect. We plan a budget, but then we see something we want to try: a museum, a special meal, a handmade souvenir. Suddenly, our wallet feels lighter. This teaches us balance. Travel is not only about spending, it is about choosing. What experience matters most to us? What will we remember years later? Challenges with money remind us to spend on what truly gives value, not only what looks attractive in the moment. Health is another challenge. When we are in a new place, our body needs time to adjust. Maybe the food is different. Maybe the weather is too hot or too cold. Maybe we walk more than usual and feel tired. Sometimes we even get sick. This is never fun, but it is part of the journey. Travel teaches us to listen to our body, to rest when needed, and to take care of ourselves, even far from home. And then there is the challenge of getting lost. Every traveler has a story about losing their way. Maybe it was the wrong bus, maybe the map didn't make sense, maybe the streets all looked the same. In the moment, it feels stressful, but later, it often becomes the best memory. Because when we are lost, we are open. We talk to strangers, we notice details, we discover hidden places we never planned to see. Getting lost teaches us flexibility. It shows us that sometimes the best part of travel is not in the plan. Travel also challenges our expectations. We imagine a place is perfect. The beach will be empty, the mountain will be quiet, the city will be clean. But when we arrive, reality is different. The beach has crowds, the mountain is cloudy, the city is noisy. At first, we may feel disappointed. But then, if we open our heart, we see another beauty. The energy of people on the beach, the mystery of a mountain in the clouds, the life of a busy city. Travel teaches us to let go of perfection and embrace reality. Another challenge is fear. Being in a new place can feel scary. We don't know the rules. We don't know the people. Sometimes we feel unsafe. This fear is natural, but when we face it, when we continue despite the fear, we grow stronger. Travel teaches courage. It shows us that fear is not a stop sign. It is just a signal that we are leaving our comfort zone. And leaving the comfort zone is exactly where growth happens. So why are these challenges important? Because they shape us. They test our patience, our courage, our flexibility. They show us what we are capable of. They remind us that life, like travel, is never perfect. It is messy, surprising, and full of lessons. In fact, many people say that when they look back on a trip, the challenges are what they remember most. Not because they were fun at the time, but because they made the story special. The night the bus broke down and everyone sang songs together while waiting. The day the rain didn't stop, but they danced anyway. The time they got lost,
but a kind stranger helped them find the way. These are the moments that stay in the heart. Travel challenges also teach gratitude. After struggling with cold weather, we appreciate a warm meal more. After missing a train, we appreciate arriving safely. After a long, tiring walk, we appreciate a simple chair to sit on. Travel reminds us that comfort is not automatic. It is a gift, and that gratitude makes life richer even when we return home. So yes, travel is not always easy. There will be problems, mistakes, and stress. But these are not reasons to avoid travel. They are reasons to embrace it. Because every challenge is also a chance to learn, to grow, to connect, to create stories. In the end, the challenges of travel matter as much as the joys. Together, they make the journey complete. Without challenges, travel would only be a postcard, flat and simple. With challenges, travel becomes a living story, full of depth, full of life. So the next time you face a travel problem, remember this: it is not the end. It is part of the adventure. And one day, it may become the part you remember best.
Travel is not only about places, it is about meaning. It is about connection. When we travel, we collect more than photos. We collect feelings, relationships, and lessons that stay in our hearts long after the trip is over. First, travel gives meaning because it shows us how big and beautiful the world is. At home, life feels familiar. We know the streets, the shops, the faces. But when we travel, suddenly the world expands. We see mountains higher than we imagined, seas wider than we dreamed, and cities full of life we never knew existed. These sights remind us that life is larger than our daily problems. They give us perspective. A small worry at home feels less heavy when we stand in front of a giant waterfall or under a sky full of stars. Travel gives meaning by reminding us that we are part of something bigger. Second, travel gives connection to people. When we visit a new place, we meet strangers who sometimes become friends. We talk with shopkeepers, drivers, guides, or families who welcome us into their homes. Even a short conversation can touch our hearts. A smile from someone who doesn't speak our language, a child waving at us in the street, an old woman offering us food we never tried before. These connections are small, but they remind us of our shared humanity. No matter where we are, people everywhere want kindness, respect, and love. Travel helps us feel this truth in real life. Travel also connects us to culture. Every culture has its own music, food, traditions, and stories. When we travel, we step inside that culture, even for a short time. We dance to new rhythms, taste new flavors, and join celebrations that feel both strange and beautiful. These experiences help us understand that there are many ways to live, and each way has wisdom. Each culture has something to teach. Another important connection travel gives is the connection to ourselves. When we leave home, we often discover parts of us we didn't know. We realize we are stronger than we thought, braver than we believed, more curious than we expected. A solo traveler may discover confidence in eating alone, exploring alone, and enjoying their own company. A group traveler may discover patience and teamwork. Travel puts us in new situations, and those situations reveal new sides of our identity. Travel also brings meaning because it creates stories. Every trip becomes part of the story of our life. We tell these stories to friends, to family, to children, even to ourselves when we look back. The story of the day we saw snow for the first time. The story of the night we laughed with strangers around a campfire. The story of the time we felt lost, but then found ourselves again. Stories give meaning. They remind us who we are and what we value. Sometimes, travel even gives us life-changing connections. There are people who meet their best friends or life partners while traveling. There are people who discover a new passion or career because of one journey. A short trip can open doors that change the direction of a whole life. This is the mystery of travel. We never know what or who we will find. Travel also connects us to nature. In our busy lives, we sometimes forget the earth that supports us.
But when we walk in a forest, swim in the ocean, or climb a mountain, we feel it again. The silence of nature speaks louder than words. We feel peace, respect, and sometimes even love for the world we live in. This connection is powerful. It reminds us to care for the planet because it is our shared home. Another way travel gives meaning is through gratitude. When we travel, we often see how people live differently, sometimes with less money, smaller houses, or harder jobs, and yet they smile, they welcome, they share. This makes us think about our own life. Maybe we complain too much. Maybe we forget what we already have. Travel opens our eyes to gratitude, and gratitude gives deep meaning to our daily life. Travel also helps us connect across time. When we walk in ancient places, like temples, castles, or ruins, we feel close to people who lived hundreds or thousands of years ago. We realize that humans before us also loved, struggled, dreamed, and built. We are part of a longer story. Travel makes history alive, not just in books, but in our own experience. Finally, travel gives meaning because it creates memories that never leave us. Long after a trip ends, the memories stay. We can close our eyes and feel the wind from that mountain, smell the food from that market, or hear the music from that festival. These memories become treasures, more valuable than things we buy. They are part of us. So how does travel give us meaning and connection? It shows us the size of the world and also the closeness of humanity. It connects us to cultures, to nature, to history, to ourselves, and to others. It teaches us gratitude, courage, and wonder. Travel is not only a holiday. It is not only escape. It is an invitation to see, to feel, to grow, to connect. And when we accept that invitation, our life becomes richer not only during the trip, but forever. That is the gift of travel, meaning and connection.
Today, we walked together through the world of travel experiences. We began by asking, why does travel matter? And we discovered that travel is not only about places, but about growth. It breaks our routine, teaches us lessons, and fills our life with perspective and joy. Then we talked about small journeys. We learned that adventure does not always mean going far. Even a short trip, a new street, or a nearby town can bring big changes to our heart and mind. Small journeys remind us that discovery is everywhere. After that, we faced the truth about challenges. Travel is not always easy. There are delays, mistakes, fears, and disappointments. But these difficulties are part of the journey. They make us patient, flexible, and stronger. And often, they become the stories we remember most. Finally, we spoke about meaning and connection. Travel gives us more than memories. It connects us with people, with culture, with nurture, with history, and with ourselves. It reminds us that we are part of something bigger, and yet deeply connected to everyone and everything around us. So as you finish listening today, I invite you to reflect. What travel experience has shaped you most? Was it a big trip? Or was it a small journey close to home? And what new journey, big or small, do you dream of next? Remember, travel is not only about moving across the map. It is about moving inside, discovering new places, and also discovering new parts of yourself. Thank you for listening to EvoLing Mind, English for your ears and your inner self. May this podcast inspire you to keep exploring, one journey at a time. See you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening with EvoLing Mind. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep your English and your mindset evolving every day.